Ah, the property ladder. It's more Kiwi than barbecues, batches, or boats, but it can be a bit tricky. Luckily for us, our dad, our mother-in-law, our neighbour, our boss, and Frank, they're all experts. But unluckily for us, every one of them disagrees about what we should do. Sell your place. Buy a bigger house. Buy the most expensive house you can afford. Capital gains, baby. Plus, you get to live in a flasher house. Don't sell your house. Pay off your mortgage as quickly as possible. Reduce your costs. Frugal living. Retire early. That's the dream. Keep your place. Buy a home and income. Cash flow, baby. Keep your place. Buy multiple investment properties in the regions. Cash flow, cash flow, cash flow. Build an empire. Imagine if we make the right decision and over the next 10 years we end up with an extra $1 or $2 million. Imagine if you make the wrong decision and for the next 10 years you're on the edge of bankruptcy, stressed about money every single day. If we play our cards right, we'll be loading our boat onto the trailer and heading to the batch for the weekend. But if we get it wrong, we'll be at the neighbour's house, at their barbecue, listening to the same advice again, still in exactly the same place we are today.
What's going on, everyone? It's Blandon here from iRefi Mortgages. I'm one of the senior advisors here, and in the last couple of weeks I have reviewed over 30 applications with my clients, assessing what sort of options they have. Here's one of the most frequently asked questions: what should I do in my current position? And so for a lot of clients, it's about their needs. If they need to get into a school zone or they need more rooms for their kids because they're getting older, then we need to narrow down their options and make that happen for them. Now, for a lot of people, they actually have just built up a bit of equity on their property and they're trying to figure out how to best utilize their position. So instead of me telling them what to do, we look at 4 scenarios with them from a cash flow standpoint, and so that they can make a more informed decision. So here are the 4 scenarios. Number 1, a lot of them will ask, okay, I want to buy a new house. I want to upgrade to a bigger place. So in this scenario, from a cash flow standpoint, it's 0% cash flow. In fact, if you are paying off your mortgage and then borrowing more to buy a new property, you're in a negative cash flow position because you're increasing your mortgage. And so in the second scenario, we have hold and upgrade. Now, for a lot of people, when they first think about this, all they can think about is the $1 million mortgage that they're taking on board. But in reality, this decision is better than the first one because they are now getting some cash flow to supplement for that new mortgage, and they're getting some tax benefit from having the original property as an investment property. So how this works is you can actually have majority of the mortgage sitting against the investment property, and you're going to have that cash flow paying for that interest-only loan. So then your new mortgage position is very similar to scenario 1. And so in fact, from a cash flow standpoint, this is actually much better. So in the third scenario, what a lot of clients can do is hold and buy a home and income property. So in this scenario, what the client is doing is renting out their current place, and they're looking for a place where they're not only going to live in there themselves, but they're going to rent out the granny flat or the standalone minor dwelling or self-contained unit. So in this scenario, they're getting a much higher cash flow, between 4 to 6% quite easily if you're in Auckland, or maybe higher if you're outside of Auckland. Last scenario, we have you're holding and investing in more cash flow assets. So this is personally my favorite and something that I practice personally. In the last few years, although my income has increased, I have kept my spending the same and invested the difference into business and properties. So very easily you can achieve 6 to 9% cash flow if you're investing in the right kind of properties. A lot of the time might be regionals. An example would be a Hastings property, 8 to 9% yield quite easily. So again, here's a few scenarios that you can look at from a cash flow standpoint, and hopefully that will help you make a more informed decision.
In 10 years' time, I want to look back and I want to say, hey, thanks, Tim. Thanks for putting in the effort to consciously choose where you should invest your money and what you should do. Thanks for putting in a little bit of extra work and making those sacrifices, because it set me up for where I am today. It means that I have the lifestyle I want to have today. It means I can make the decisions I want to for my kids. It means I'm beginning to build a legacy. And I want to make sure that future Tim is able to thank past Tim for making the right decisions with his money. But how do you make the right decision?
Why not get started right now? Take the 90-second online mortgage snapshot. Discover your borrowing power, potential mortgage savings, and more with instant online results. The online mortgage snapshot is recently developed using up-to-date servicing information from the 5 major banks in New Zealand. So click below and instantly discover your options.